Okay, so you're here because you're all about high performance.
Absolutely right.
Whether it's crushing it in business, like leading your team, getting the best from your clients, or pushing yourself to the limit as an athlete. You want the real deal,
That's it.
the actionable insights, something you can actually use.
Exactly. No fluff.
So that's what we're diving into today.
Awesome.
The core principles behind crafting excellence.
Real practical stuff.
And we're taking our cues from the one and only Coach Ed Padalecki. What's the mission for today's deep dive? I think it's to really get under the hood of his system.
I think so.
For building that lasting peak performance.
Yes. And he's super clear about this. It's not like you're born with it.
Right.
This isn't about some magical talent. It's much more about a process.
A process.
An intentional, ongoing process of development.
Yeah. It makes you think,
It does.
About your own journey. Whatever your field is, are you really actively crafting your path to excellence?
Yeah.
Brick by brick.
Makes you think.
Day after day. Coach P, he kicks things off with this really powerful analogy.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're going to say.
It's visceral, man.
Right.
He compares us, doesn't matter if you're in the boardroom or on the field, to raw iron being forged into like this high-performance blade.
Such a great image.
So powerful, right?
Yeah, and I think what's cool is how he unpacks that whole forging process.
Yeah.
So he talks about intense heat, which when you think about it is like those high-pressure situations you face.
Right.
Tight deadlines.
Those crazy challenges that seem impossible.
Exactly, the ones that make you sweat. Then he's got this idea of hammering, which is all about that consistent effort.
Day in and day out.
Relentless execution. And then finally, he brings in precision.
Precision.
Which is about being completely focused.
Laser focused.
Bringing that intentionality to everything you do.
So let's bring this home for everyone listening.
Okay, yeah.
Think about your typical day, right?
Mm-hmm.
The big decisions you have to make.
Right.
Those emails you send out that have a real impact.
Every word matters.
The crucial meetings. Maybe you're leading those.
High stakes.
Those times when you got to push yourself beyond what's comfortable.
Got to get out of that comfort zone.
Coach Padalecki's point is, all these actions, even the little ones, they're like strikes of the hammer.
They add up.
Shaping you, making you stronger.
Forging that blade.
So how are you looking at those everyday pressures? Are they just roadblocks? Or are they chances to make your blade even stronger?
Yeah, that's the question. Are you letting them break you?
Or build you up? If we zoom out a bit, think big picture, high performance.
Big picture.
It's all about understanding that you don't become a master overnight.
It's a process.
It's not one giant leap.
It's all these little steps.
It's those focused efforts you make every day.
All adding up.
Every time you bring that precision to your work.
Every time you push through.
Every challenge you overcome, you're making your foundation stronger. Coach Padalecki's quick to point this out. It's not just about, grinding it out, putting in the hours, sweating it out.
Yeah.
That's not the whole story when it comes to reaching excellence.
There's more to it.
He says there's a huge mental side to it.
It's a mental game.
It's more than just the physical effort.
Absolutely.
So what are those key mental elements he talks about?
Well, he talks about self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
Really knowing yourself, strengths, weaknesses.
How you react under pressure.
Exactly. And then there's strategy. Having a clear plan.
Knowing where you're going.
Knowing how you're going to get there.
And then, of course, mastery.
Mastery, that's the goal.
Deeply understanding your field.
Knowing your stuff inside and out.
Owning it, right.
Yeah.
This is such a crucial reminder. It is. Especially, for those of us who love action.
Yeah.
We're all about the tangible results, hitting those targets.
Getting things done.
But Coach P, he's pushing us to look deeper.
Yeah.
At that mental game that drives our performance.
The foundation.
So if you're a leader or an athlete, I want you to ask yourself, how much time are you spending on sharpening that mental edge?
That's the real work sometimes.
Right. Because it all ties into Coach Padalecki's emphasis on this word journey.
The journey. I love how he talks about that.
He highlights that it comes from the Latin word diurnus.
Diurnus.
Which means a day's portion. What does that connection make you think of when you think about your own long-term goals?
It's really interesting. When I hear that, it reframes the whole idea of chasing excellence.
It's not about that far off finish line.
It's not like you just arrive one day.
It's about what you're doing every single day.
It's that daily effort.
It's making progress a habit.
A discipline.
Coach Padalecki is saying that the road to peak performance, it's not some crazy sprint. It's a
A
marathon
long game.
made up of those individual daily efforts.
One step at a time.
And each step gets you closer.
It's like he says, what felt amazing yesterday, that just becomes your starting point today.
It's like you're always leveling up.
It's constant growth, fueled by those daily portions.
And then he throws down this challenge, doesn't he?
He does.
It can be kind of uncomfortable. It's the easy way versus the hard way.
The choice we all face.
The easy way, sure, it's comfy, doesn't require as much,
Yeah.
mentally or physically, but he says it's a slow road.
You're not growing as fast.
You're not hitting those goals as quickly. Then there's the hard way.
That's the one that pushes you.
It's demanding, it pushes you past your limits, but it's also the path to faster, more significant growth.
You're leveling up quicker.
So when you think about the choices you make, professionally,
Every day.
what stands out to you about this whole easy versus hard thing?
Well, it makes you think, am I taking the easy route too often?
Yeah,
Am I choosing comfort over growth?
you got to be honest with yourself.
It's a gut check.
Are you always going for the path of least resistance, or are you actively seeking out those challenges?
The ones that make you better.
The ones that might be tough in the moment, but end up making you so much stronger.
Exactly. And that leads right into how Coach P talks about mastering the process. And his first big point there is energy management over time management.
Energy over time.
Why do you think someone like Coach P, who's all about performance,
Yeah.
would put so much emphasis on energy for people who are driven?
I mean, it makes sense, right?
It does.
You can have your whole day planned out perfectly,
down to the minute.
but if you're running on empty, you're not going to be effective.
You're just going through the motions.
Coach P is saying it's way smarter to focus on your energy levels
Managing that energy.
and then really mastering those fundamental skills.
The ones that give you the most bang for your buck. Think about it. We've all been there, pushing through when we're exhausted.
Oh, yeah.
And what happens?
It never goes well.
We make mistakes. We're not sharp.
Time is limited,
We all have the same 24 hours.
but energy, that's something you can work on.
You can build it up, recover, use it strategically,
If you learn to manage your energy,
find your peak times, take breaks when you need them, delegate tasks.
and really master those core skills
You're building a much stronger foundation.
for your work, for your goals.
Yeah.
And then he brings up virtue management, which sounds kind of,
A bit philosophical.
yeah, philosophical. But Coach Padalecki ties it directly to performance.
He makes it practical.
He's talking about developing wisdom, courage, discipline, love.
Those core virtues.
And it's really interesting how Coach P talks about them.
Yeah.
It's not like they're these abstract ideas.
They're not just nice thoughts.
He sees them as drivers of performance.
Real tangible things.
Like they bridge the gap between our potential and what we actually achieve.
the potential's there, but these virtues help us unlock it.
They give us the strength to be excellent over the long haul.
So important.
So if you're a high-performing business leader, a coach, an athlete, how do these virtues show up in your everyday pursuit of your goals?
How did they play out in your life?
Like, think about the wisdom to make smart decisions under pressure,
To see the bigger picture,
the courage to take risks and step outside your comfort zone,
to try new things.
the discipline to stick to your plans even when it gets tough,
When you don't feel like it.
and maybe even the love for the process that can fuel you when you're ready to give up.
That's what keeps you going.
Coach Padalecki's not saying these virtues are separate from the actual work.
They're not extras.
He's saying they're essential.
They're the foundation.
They give you that inner resilience,
To deal with the challenges.
that ethical framework to stay on track, to do things the right way.
To be a good person while you're striving for excellence.
And then he brings up this point that I think really hits home for anyone trying to improve. Go for mastery, not motions.
Mastery.
It's about approaching every practice, every project, every performance, not just as a box to check,
Not just something to get done,
but as a real chance to learn,
to get better.
to refine your skills, to make those incremental improvements.
It's about the quality of your effort.
Are you really trying to understand your craft at a deeper level?
Are you pushing yourself to improve?
Or are you just going through the motions?
Just trying to get to the end of the day.
Coach P wants us to have a mindset of constant learning.
Always striving for mastery.
So I want you to ask yourself, in your daily life, are you truly going for mastery?
Or are you just getting things done?
Where can you shift your focus from just completing tasks to really mastering those skills? And, Coach Padalecki offers a couple of different ways for people to work with his Peak Performance Today framework. He's got the free version,
which is awesome.
it's got those quick, actionable lessons.
You can use them right away. Really helpful stuff.
Then there's the full program. It's more immersive, gives you those in-depth strategies.
Yeah.
And you get those Q&A sessions with him directly.
Which is amazing.
It seems like he's created different ways to get involved based on, where you are in your journey.
And how much you're willing to commit.
But the goal's the same, right?
It is.
To help people bridge that gap between where they are now and their full potential.
And to celebrate the progress along the way.
Yeah. And Coach Padalecki ends with this really powerful challenge for you, the listener.
He wants us to think.
He wants you to think critically about your own journey. How are things really going?
Are you on the path to becoming your best self?
Or are you just going through the motions? And then he pushes you to take action, explore those free resources, or maybe commit to the full program.
Whatever's right for you.
But the key is to take ownership of your growth.
To be proactive.
Coach Ed Padalecki keeps bringing us back to this essential truth.
I love this part.
Greatness isn't about reaching some finish line.
It's not a destination.
It's about the journey.
The day-to-day effort.
It's about focusing on that day's portion of intentional effort.
Every single day.
And learning, growing. He really drives home the point that those small actions you take today, those are the building blocks for the excellence you'll achieve in the future.
It's so powerful.
So, as you go through your day today,
I want you to think about this.
what's one intentional action you can take right now that's going to contribute to your day's portion of crafting excellence? Think about the power of those consistent daily choices. It's a really practical takeaway from Coach Padalecki that you can use right away.
I love it.
I think that's a great place to wrap up. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been great exploring this with you.
Until next time,
See you then.
keep pushing for that excellence.